So all across the Gulf, you're seeing these incredible, ambitious plans to build the cities of the future. But here's the thing. Behind all the stunning designs and massive investments, there's a really fundamental debate taking shape over the best way to actually build them. Let's dive into this clash of blueprints.
So, what's the right move here? Do you take a single revolutionary leap, a massive all-in bet that's designed to deliver a finished vision from day one? Or is it smarter to take a more cautious, step-by-step approach? Building, learning, and adapting as you go.
And, this isn't just theory. These two very different philosophies are playing out in the real world right now. To really get our heads around them, we're going to look at two fascinating case studies: Saudi Arabia's The Line and Abu Dhabi's Masdar City.
All right, first up, let's talk about The Line. This project is, without a doubt, the absolute definition of an all-in bet. It's Saudi Arabia's high-stakes gamble on a completely new way of living in a city.
And wow, the sheer scale of the vision, it's just breathtaking. This isn't just some new district. We're talking about an attempt to build an entire city from scratch, a continuous 500-meter-tall structure that literally cuts across the desert, designed to be totally free from all the old-school constraints of city planning.
And get this, the population target is just staggering, 9 million people. To put that in perspective, that's more than the entire population of Switzerland, all living inside this one revolutionary structure. The goal here is to make a huge statement and just completely reset what the world expects from city life.
Okay, but having a grand vision is one thing. Actually building it, that's a whole different ballgame. Despite these massive contracts and thousands of workers on site, by late 2025, only a 2.4-kilometer section of the structure was actually built. That number really highlights the immense physical challenge of turning a vision this big into a reality.
And that complexity? Well, it's having some very real consequences. The project's timeline has already been adjusted, pushing the full completion date all the way back to 2045. And the reason is simple, really. Execution has just turned out to be way more complicated than anyone originally planned.
On top of that, this has led to some significant financial pressure, a reported $8 billion write-down. That really shows you just how tough it is to fund a single-stage project of this size. It's proof that even the best-funded projects run up against very real material and financial limits. Okay, so now let's switch gears and look at Abu Dhabi's Masdar City. This represents a fundamentally different strategy, what you might call the adaptive, learn-as-you-go blueprint.
Masdar also started with a super bold goal back in 2006 to become the world's very first net-zero carbon city. But when it only hit about half its target by 2016, it didn't just double down. It pivoted, it adapted its strategy and evolved into what it is today, a thriving, commercially viable R&D hub that just keeps on growing.
And you know what? That adaptive approach has delivered some real, tangible wins that you can actually measure. The city's innovative designs have cut energy and water use by a whopping 40%, and its solar capacity gets rid of 15,000 tons of emissions every single year. These are real-world gains, achieved through steady, step-by-step progress.
So what's the secret sauce here? It's a strategy called phased development. Instead of one giant, risky build, you break the project into smaller, manageable chunks. You learn from each stage, and you let that knowledge and all the new tech that comes along guide what you do next. It's just smarter.
So let's really break this down. Let's put these two models head-to-head. The grand, singular vision on one side, and the staged, adaptive viability on the other.
And this really gets to the heart of it, right? On one hand, you've got the line. That's the all-at-once model, a massive bet on a single, predetermined outcome. On the other hand, you have Masdar City, which is all about the staged model, where every new phase is a chance to adjust and improve.
And when you lay it all out like this, the trade-offs become crystal clear. With the all-in model, your risk exposure is through the roof. I mean, one single problem can throw the whole project off track, and it needs a gigantic amount of cash right up front. In contrast, with the phased model, risk is contained in each little stage. Funding gets spread out over time, and, this is crucial, the teams actually build real expertise with every single stage they complete.
So, let's zoom out for a second. What does this whole tale of two cities really tell us about the smartest path forward for urban development? Not just for these two projects, but for the entire GCC region.
The biggest lesson here might be something a little unexpected. It's that the most revolutionary act isn't always building something brand new. Often, the biggest and most immediate gains actually come from making the cities we already have smarter. I mean, Just look at Dubai. It's a perfect example. They digitized 99.5% of their government services. Think about that. That created a massive improvement in the quality of life for residents, all without having to pour a single new yard of concrete.
So all of this seems to point toward a much more resilient path forward, kind of a three-step playbook. First, focus on improving the digital layer of the cities you've already got. Then, when you do build new projects, do it in manageable phase stages. And finally, let what you learn on the ground and all the new tech guide each step you take.
And the reasons this blended approach works are just, well, they're super compelling. You're protecting your capital from massive risk. You're slashing the chances of a catastrophic failure. You build deep, long-term expertise inside your own teams. And you stay nimble, able to respond to new technologies and shifting market demands.
Which really leaves us with one big question to chew on. Is the future of our cities less about building something totally new from scratch and more about getting radically better at improving what we already have?